guys, and welcome to my first Sunday breakdown of the currency pairs that I'm looking to send out as a signal and analysis in the group chat for this week upcoming. So the first pair we have is GBP New Zealand. So we're looking at this on the 4 hour to start with. Fairly nice trend line here. It would be nicer if we could see a few more touches, but ultimately that's fine because the structure part that we are actually looking at is this downtrend here and there, and as you can see there's loads of touches on each side, so you can see it's a great trend line to be following. So for this pair there are two scenarios that I want to look at. So last week I put in the group chat a buy limit at here. It's not tagged us in yet, but ultimately this is a nice resistance forming around here, and I'd want to take it up to the upside of this whole structure as a reversal, and I'd probably have the stop loss at about 60 pips just under the resistance, maybe 70-ish, just to be safe with this in case it ranges. And as you can see, that's an 8.44 risk to reward. However, it doesn't have to come here, because another thing that I would look for is it to, at any point in this section here, I'd want it to break out, retest, and then that's what would also tag me in. So either scenario, so you've either got the touch here, retest, and then break out, or you've got the resistance formed here, which it can touch on, and then move up after a retest. So this is what I'm looking for. Ultimately, what I'd do after that is I would take it down to the smaller time frames and look for a perfect entry. So more like the 5 minutes, so that I can see where it touches. Yeah, so that's why my buy limit would be here, because that is the bottom of this structure here. So the second pair that I'm looking at is GBPUSD. Ultimately, I'm not too bothered about following the trend up. It doesn't really interest me. What does interest me is the level of structure here, which could show that it can't break here and it will not go any higher. So this is what will make me want to look for a breakout, a retest of the trend line, and then the big stretch down. On the smaller time frames, we are looking at almost an ascending wedge. So ultimately what it could do is range a bit more within here, and then what I would look for personally is a breakdown like that, and then for it to keep going. If it can break and retest, I'd probably put it around here at this point of the structure, but the issue here is, even though it's a good risk to reward, the amount of pips we're risking is not ideal. I don't like going for ones this high up. I like looking for like sub 30, but can't really be a risk-free trade if we do a less risky trade if we do that, unless it shows perfect confirmation, as I've said, of break, retest, and down. That is the only reason I'd potentially do this. And also with this pair, because of how high the stop loss is, I would look to put the stop loss to break even straight away, just to make it a less risky trade. Third pair is USDCAD. I've already drawn this in before because I put it out as a trade analysis for the group chat. So what you're looking at here is you're looking at a structure of range in a downtrend. I'm kind of just trying to target more range here. So you've got the resistance here. We're on the 4 hour chart, by the way. So you've got the resistance here, which it's so far respecting. So what I would just look for now at this point, because as you can see here, it's respecting the support, which is making me want to see it as it's going to carry on ranging upwards, and this would be a 5 risk to reward, which is ideal for us, and a risk of 57 pips, which obviously I would look to put straight back at break even very quickly. Another pair that we're looking at is AUDUSD. We were in this last week. We caught it down to here, which is the support. So what I'd ultimately look for here on the 4 hours is a break, a retest. My entry would be here with this line, and then break down to the downside. We made a good amount of money on this last week, so that is what my risk would be. 30 pips up here to make 100. It's a good risk to reward of 3. And it's quite a likely outcome, because if we chuck it on the daily, maybe somewhat of a stretch, but you can see shoulder, head. Ultimately, this could be the right shoulder. I know you could say this one here is a third shoulder, but I prefer the look of this. So normally what you see the head, the shoulder, the head, the shoulder. This is the head and shoulder pattern, and then you have the big breakdown to the downside, which is what this could show here, and that is why I'm very interested in taking this trade. It's always good to look on every single time frame. So the 1 hour, the 4 hour, and the daily is what I look at, and then for an entry I'll put it on the 5 minutes. The final pair that we were looking at today is GBP Japan, and this is literally for the exact same reason. On the daily, what can we see? We can see a bearish engulfing candle, which is a great indicator that we're going to the downside. Also, we've got again the shoulder, the head, potential shoulder forming. So what would I expect? Probably a move back up to this support line, and then we go down. And that is what I'm expecting for this. So what would I do? I'd go, ultimately, the perfect entry would be if it came back up here before going down, but I don't think that's very realistic. So maybe look on the 5 minute for a support, which is around this area here. As you can see, there's been some short term. On the 5 minutes, there's been a support made here already, so it could be anywhere from here to there. Push back up, maybe even touch here, which is kind of where it's at now, and then that's kind of a good entry. But also, as you can see, because of this, another scenario could just be carry on breaking it down, go back up to here, and then we move down to the downside, and target all the way down here. So let's just chuck it on for you guys to see. So if it can have that confirmation, what I would look for is 151 pips here, and I'd probably put my stop loss around here, and that would be an ideal entry. Obviously, bring the stop loss to break even as soon as possible, maybe after like 20 pips, 30 pips down. Thank you guys for watching. If you have any comments, questions, or videos you'd like to see, be sure to put in the comments section down below, and I'll get to that.